Hi there, welcome to Transcona Trailer Sales. Today I'm going to be walking you through your 2021 Jayco 171BH. We're just going to start off at the back of the unit. You got your ladder so you can get up and check all your seals periodically. It's also a good idea to get up there and clean off your solar panel every once in a while, just using a soft microfiber towel with some hot water to do so, not using any harsh chemicals. Spare tire in the back. Then coming around the driver's side of the unit, you got your cable satellite input. You also have this little emergency exit for the bunk space, which is locked. Keys for it are inside, so I don't have them on me. Right down below, in the very back, you do get your sewer hose storage. Not one in there because we have a brand new one located inside the front compartment. You got stabilizer jacks in all four corners. The way those works is you're just gonna hook up your 3/4 inch drive tool, running this foot down to the ground. Once the foot contacts the ground, giving another 1/8 turn to snug it up. It's going to take any bounce or sway what you see you have in the unit right now away. Just a little special note for these guys though, they are stabilizing jacks, they're not leveling jacks. Please don't try and use them as so. And just keep in mind, if you are running them up and down with an impact, how much torque you're putting on them. And then you do get your sewer outlet. All you have to do for that is take this end, twist it off. Your sewer hose is going to have the same ear as that guy does. They just twist and lock into place. Then you got your gray valve and your black valve. You always want to empty your gray valve first. This is going to be your dirtiest water filled from your toilets. Then you can come behind that with your black valve, which is typically cleaner water filled. Sorry, you don't want to empty your black valve first because this is your dirtiest water filled from your sink, filled from your toilets. Then you can come behind that with your gray, which is typically cleaner water filled from your sinks and your showers. Got your 30 amp twist lock connection here. Just take a note of that notch there. It lines up with this notch on this side. Pressing that into place, 1/8 turn to lock it in, and then you got that threaded collar if you really wanted to lock that down. If you follow that cord back, you do have your standard 30 amp plug-in. A lot of campsites have this, so you can plug right on in. But let's say you have the unit at home and you want to run your fridge, or your campsite only has 15 amp service. We do include that adapter. Just keep it in mind whenever you are using a 15 amp adapter, which is your standard household outlet. You're not going to be able to run anything like your air conditioner. It really is just to run your fridge and your lights. Whenever you plug it in, there'll be a little green light up here telling you have a successful power source. If the green light's on, it's telling you your source of power is bad. No, your source of power is bad. It's not a problem with the trailer. Exterior shower. Nice little feature there. Just a standard 751 key to open up that guy. It's going to come included with your unit. Then you got your fresh fill. So that's what fills your fresh tank. That's what your water pump draws off of. You got your city water connection. So if you're at a site with service, just thread a garden hose in there, turn it on. It's going to pressurize all those lines without the need to run your water pump. Then you do have a black tank flush. So that really helps if you're getting false monitor panel readings or just an odor around the unit. Whenever you're using it, just take a note of that caution sticker. It's just letting you know you do have to have the black tank valve open and the sewer connected. Reason being, if you're pushing pressure inside of the tank and the pressure's got nowhere to go, you can burst that tank just due to expansion. You got your hot water service cord here. Loosen that guy off. Pull that out. You got your 1/16 drain bolt right down here at the bottom. Loosen that guy. That's how you drain that tank out. Pressure relief valve up top. Hitting that guy. That's going to relieve all the pressure out of the tank. Whenever you get your campsite, hitting that pressure relief valve before you fire it up, you should get a shot of water coming out of there, letting you know that the tank's full and ready, safe to fire up. There's no water currently in it because I literally just drained it. You got a reset button I'm going to go over once we're inside. It's just right there. Lining these guys back up, pushing water from that place. Down below the floor, you get your first valve, which is going to be for that fresh tank drain. So with it now, it's currently open. Turning it to the other side, it would be closed. You got your 2 low point drains. So if you don't want water going stale or stagnant inside the lines, or you finish your winterization process completely, you want to let some antifreeze out. That's the best way to do so. It's the lowest point in the drain lines to let as much water out as possible. You got a storage compartment right up here in the front. In addition to that, on the wall, there's a battery disconnect switch. With it in the on position like it is now, the batteries are connected to the unit. If you were to turn that to the off position, the batteries would become disconnected from the unit. Coming around the front, typically this cover is on top of it, and most of the time you can get what you need done just by flipping and opening up this cover, but for the purpose of video, I just had it removed. Coming to the top of your tanks, it's like any standard barbecue, counterclockwise, nice and slow to open up the flow of propane to the unit. Get your selector valve up front. Let's say you're drawing off this tank's empty, so now you got to take it and go fill it up. Turn this off, disconnect it, you flip it over to the other side. You can run off this one while this one's getting filled. Tongue jack right at the front. Coming around this side, you got the other side of that storage compartment. It does run straight through. 3/4 inch drive tool for those stabilizer jacks. On the wall, you got some different light switches that are going to turn on some accent lighting around the unit. You also have a little tire pressure sensor thing on the wall that they included. Then you do get your standard starter kit. Comes with that 10-foot sewer hose, 15-foot water hose, and some other miscellaneous goodies, including the 15-amp park adapter that I already told you about. Coming further down the unit, more accent lighting. Turning this switch on, turns on some nice blue underglow underneath the stairs. Whenever your furnace is running, this is going to be blowing out hot air, so just be mindful of that. You do have a cable satellite outlet right here in case you want to have a TV outside. Also with the 2 plugs. Range hood, whenever you get to your campsite, you're going to want to flip this flap open, so that way that range hood is evacuating those fumes as you're making them. And then whenever you're done camping and you're traveling again, just making sure that you do snap it back into place. It's going to stop any excess dust from getting inside the unit. You got your fridge service port here, not much you need to worry about. Now for the best part, you can just take that assist handle, push it up, hold it 90 degrees, it's going to lock into place. That'll allow you to open up the door. You do have to have your door open all the way. Fold the stairs down, and you can adjust your stair feet with these buttons here, so you can have nice and level stairs for your campsite. Before we step inside, you are going to notice with this door all the way open, it's going to run into contact with that awning arm. So you go to bring that awning out, there's a chance you're going to damage it. So always be mindful and making sure when you close your door 90 degrees before you try and run your awning arm out. Once you step on inside, first thing you notice off on the left is that fire extinguisher, which is just like home. Pull the pin and shoot. A couple different ways you can turn on the lights with the switches up top, or you got your Jayco command little center here. Hitting this button turns on all the interior lights. Hitting number 2 is going to turn on that awning LED light outside, and hitting 3 turns on the interior lights as well as the awning LED. System's pretty different, so you got your monitor panel system here, so it's going to tell you your different levels. Pushing the button again, you get into your water system. So if you wanted to turn that on, you just hit the on button. You're going up and down with the select button. So if you want to fire on electric, you could turn that on, the water pump on the water heater on electric, and that's going to be the most efficient option, but it also takes the longest to heat up. And then you could fire it up on gas also if you had your propane on at the front. Turning that on, it's going to make the water the hottest, the quickest, but it is the less efficient option. Off button to turn it off, on button to turn it on. You can also push select to go between the different options. Pushing that button one more time, that's when you get into your awning motor section. So you're going to see extend, retract. Hit the extend button. Awning starts making its way out. Once it is at its full extension, you see the back of the metal tube and the little flap hang down. Unfortunately, today we're not going to be able to get to that point. So that is all we're going to be able to go up today. Now if we're to start painting, take any arm front to rear, pull down at the center. It's going to change the pitch of the awning head, allowing water to now run off. Now I feel like that angle better because it also allows for more shade underneath. You do the same thing with the front arm, just making sure you do push them both back to straight before you bring the awning in. That way you don't run the risk of bending anything. Bring the awning in, again, I'm just hitting that retract option. You're going to watch the awning roll its way in, making sure it's rolling nice and even. No issues. If you were to happen to have to roll that awning in while it was wet outside, making sure you do try and roll it back out just for next earliest convenience. That way you don't accelerate the growth of mold and mildew. And whenever your winds start picking up, you're going to want to make sure you bring that awning in. That way you don't run the risk of bending or ripping anything. Pushing the little source button again to get you into your AC control. So again, using select to go between what you want to choose, but pushing the up button will bring you into high. So the room's 28, we're set for 20, but because you're in cool, the fan's gonna run regardless of what you have the room set to, unless of course you pushed the cool -A, it means it's automatic, so it's gonna be an on-demand system. So once the room does reach 20, it'll automatically kill the air conditioner. Now, let's say you want to change what the set room temperature is, you just have to use the select button and you can go up or down. Same thing with the fan speed, up or down, high or low. Back to mode, hit it again. That's gonna kill the air conditioner and fire up the furnace. The furnace only has one fan speed. It does move all its air from the 4 portals you have throughout the unit, which is just this one right in front of the sink. So if you wanted to get a little fan to move some air around, you could. And then one more time, we'll take you over to high or to fan. Wherever you're running the fan, it's just moving air around with the air conditioner, no cooling involved. And back to off again. Push that select button one more time, you get into your different settings. You can switch between all the different settings, of course. Then you're back over to your monitor panel system. Right down below here, turn this switch on, turns on some more accent lighting. Taking a step on inside. Up on the wall here is your Furrion TV. It's also going to be your sound system. It works pretty much just like home, minus the fact of having your different zones. Zone 1 is inside speakers, Zone 2 is outside speakers. You got all tons of storage all around this unit. Of course, just be mindful of drains, water lines, and things like that. Now, when it comes time for winterization, if you flip the mattress over, you're going to notice this wood cover's out of the way. Gives you access to those bypass valves for winterization for that water pump. And now if you flip over this seat here, pop this guy over and out, you can then lift this up, which acts as a storage compartment. And on the other side of the storage compartment is where you get access to your water pump for winterization. Now, you currently have it set up for a nice eating space. You can also flip this down into a bed in case you would have some extra guests that your bunks can't accommodate. Just have to take the feet from underneath the table, set the tabletop on its desired ledges, take your back cushions, fill in the center, and you can have yourself another bed. All the blinds in the unit do work the same way. They just kind of sit where you leave them. Wherever you leave them, that's where they will stay. Kitchen area, pretty much just like home, minus the fact of your stove. Whenever you're running your stove, I always recommend running your range hood so you're evacuating those propane fumes. And since we're talking about propane fumes, you got your LTP protector right here near the ground. If this guy ever starts going off, don't panic. Just turn off the main supply of propane at the front of the unit and open up some windows and vents to get some fresh oxygen inside of here. Now when it comes time for lighting your stove, let's say you had the propane system off, it's been off for a while. It does allow air into the system once the air makes its way in. Of course, it does have to be purged out. Quickest, easiest way to do that is just by firing up your stove. So I do recommend, if you've had the propane system off or you've disconnected the bottles for whatever reason, always making sure you do fire up the stove first thing. The reason I say that is if you go to fire up your water heater, fridge, or anything like that on propane, those only will try lighting themselves a few times before they'll throw a fault code at you. And if you don't know what the fault code means, it can throw some frustration into your weekend, which we do want to avoid. We want to keep the good times rolling. So that's why you should come to your stove whenever you're running your gas valve, always making sure you are hitting that igniter periodically, because you don't want to build up gas in a minor combustion, because we all do like keeping our eyebrows and eyelashes, and I'm sure your wife or partner does also. Turn that over to high/light option, hitting the igniter. Of course, it does fire right on up today, just because I did have the system running just a few minutes ago. But you just hold it over to that high option and it does fire right on up. Again, sometimes it can take a few minutes, so just be patient with it. Right down below, you got your main fuse and breaker panel. If you ever have a breaker trip, it's going to sit in the middle, so you just have to turn it off and then back on again to reset it. All your corresponding fuses are on the right. Storage all throughout, again, just being mindful of drains, water lines, things like that. You got your Dometic fridge, freezer combo. The controls for that are just right here. The further you push this plastic piece up the fin, is the cooler the fridge and freezer will get. And up top you got your different controls. So obviously with the button to press like so, it's off. With it pushed in, it's on. If you don't have that auto there, you are firing up on gas, so make sure you have the gas on. Now if you push the button in and have it pressed in, it'll be an auto. So once you're hooked up to shore power, it's going to be on shore power, and if shore power is disconnected, it'll automatically switch over to gas. But of course, if you do that, just making sure you give it a few minutes to make sure it does fire on gas and you have enough propane in the front to keep it running, because you wouldn't want that dying out on you in the middle of the night or anything, making everything go bad. Got your bunk spaces pretty standard. Plugins, of course, lights, USBs. You got your solar controller on the wall here. There's a bunch of different settings you can go in and play with, but it is currently just set up for your basic charging needs. If there's a sun outside, applying charge. If there's sun outside hitting the solar panel, this is going to send the charge to the front battery. You can go between your different battery types and all things like that, but we do currently have it set up. Now, once you are into the bathroom, the light switch is on your right. The first switch is going to do the fan above your head. The second switch is going to do the light for inside here. So where also you find your main GFI plug. Most of the plugs are going to be hooked up through GFI in this unit. So if you ever have an outlet that doesn't work, this will be the first place I'd check, just making sure that isn't tripped. You got reset up top, test down below. Other than that, pretty standard. That's going to be it for this unit here. If you have any other questions, feel free to give us a call.